Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to KERBAL Space Program. Last time we launched this shuttle, or a version of this shuttle. As you notice, there may be some things different you may not have noticed. They're sort of hard to spot. I've added some wings right here in between these fuel tanks and the main body of the craft. I added some solar panels here. Larger jet engines, different control surfaces, hopefully to get a little more control of the craft when it's re-entering. I also added some winglets and some fuel tanks up here in the nose in an attempt to get it to stabilize better. I have indeed tested this off the runway, and it can fly. It does fly. Quite nicely, actually. It doesn't fly level to the ground. It'll fall if you point it straight forward, but if you angle it up about 10 degrees, it flies pretty well. What else have I edited? Oh, right. I have to fix these action groups. As you can see, these are simply to shut down the engines, but instead I want to try... hold on. That is indeed that one. I want to try toggling them to give me better control of the thrust whilst in the air. Let's see here. Toggle. Yes. Considering I've ripped this spacecraft apart and stuck it back together between last video and this video, I'm not sure if it's going to work. This is now my 5th attempt at recording this, considering my kernel mode drivers continue to crash over and over. I believe it's a problem with my computer and Unity. I'm not sure why or what, but any Unity game I try to play crashes my kernel mode drivers. It's quite annoying. I can't find any fixes for it either, so I'm going to have to just deal with it. We'll see if it happens again. If it does happen again, this is another waste of a recording. If it doesn't, then yay. Trying to think of what else I've edited on this craft between last video and this one. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in this video or this recording of this video, the 5th one here. I've removed the VTOL engines because, quite frankly, if you're dumb enough to take this thing to the moon, you better be ready to strand some Kerbals in orbit or on the surface if you can land upright. Alright, let's see here. Autopilot. I'm going to let the autopilot try this time. RCS. Oh wait, I don't need SCS with mech jump yet. Alright, it leans over. Come on. I find it quite entertaining that right off the bat, these 8 tiny little engines, are more powerful than this huge powerhouse. But that quickly changes. Let's see. Okay, hit 0 to close the air intakes. Cutting back on drag. What else? Alright, now we just wait and hope that nothing terrible happens. As you can see, we have 3 new Kerbals this time. Nedgen, Dudfrid, and Merman. That is because Bill, Jeb, and Bob are here in another shuttle doing other things, testy things. Mostly I just forgot to land or revert that flight before I saved and exited after my last kernel video driver crash. So they're kind of stuck up there until I can land the ship. So they're probably dead. Oh well. They were good Kerbals. But now we've got these three weirdos. Looks like we've got a new Jeb. Merman Kerman. I like it. Excellent. So far, no video crashes, no terrible things, no ship backflips. Matter of fact, I'm not sure what I did, but these engines seem a lot more powerful than they used to be. Because about now, we'd be turning off an engine, but as you can see, the arrow is still above the middle line, which means these are still pushing harder against this. Or perhaps the wings I put in here are pushing against the top, making it want to roll that way. Either way, this ship is doing much better than usual. I'm going to check and make sure the fuel's draining out of all the correct fuel tanks. Yes. Yes. Okay. Check the new tank in the nose of the ship here. Hopefully it's not drained. Or we'll be going back to the VAB. Ah, crap in a hat. Wait a minute. I may have forgotten to re-add the fuel after testing on the runway. Ah, that's what I did. Back to the VAB. I now know why the ship was doing much better. I forgot. After testing the jet engines with no fuel in the rest of the craft, as it would somewhat be on re-entry, I forgot to re-add all the fuel. For any seasoned YouTuber, this would be where I would jump cut. Or, well, I probably would have done that a while ago. Back to the launch pad with fuel. But I have no editing software at the moment, so you have to watch this. And listen to me ramble on about if I was a professional, but I'm not, so tough shit. Alright, now let's do this. This seems to be taking a bit longer to load than last time. There we go. Come on. There we go. Much better. Alright, back to this and this and that. Alright. Like usual, it tilts forward, doing its normal thing. As you can see, not tilting forward nearly as much as before. Considering now there's fuel in the rest of this shuttle. Let's see. Make sure this isn't draining. And it is. Why? We'll do this. Actually, I think I'm going to let that drain. Because afterwards, front will be much lighter. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Fuel's there to be used, isn't it? As much as I don't want it to be. There really needs to be the ability in the VAB to take fuel lines into the what's it called? Action group system, and be able to toggle their fuel flow. That would be great. But we can't do that, so we have to make do with what we've got. Damn it. Alright. Still going up. Still pulling a Jeb with them badass parameters. Dunfrid is uncertain. And Nedgren is terrifying. But as usual, they're not looking at anything because there's no interior to the Mark III cockpit, just like the previous Mark III cockpit. Not sure why they haven't added any Mark III cockpit things in it ever. It better not become a running joke, because that would be a shame. Still going up. Still doing pretty well compared to what it used to be. Did I miss some fuel or something? Well, I don't have oxidizer in these tanks because they're simple jet fuel. It's only lightly pushing still. It's quite surprising. Not sure how to feel about this. See, the ascent path is as it was with the turn at 10 kilometers. I guess we wait and see what happens. These do indeed feel like they're draining quite a bit slower. Perhaps it's because these engines aren't using the fuel from the large tanks, we'll see. This fuel still has yet to be touched. Let's see. See this tank in here. Come here, stop it. Probably shouldn't have done this during gravity turn. Okay. Well, that's out. Oh, it's doing its roll. Doing a much better job this time than my previous recordings. Much better, actually. Wow. One go. That's not bad. Before, it kept having to stop, realign with the 90-degree line. Try again. This time, all one go. I'll chalk that up to whoever the new pilot is. Good job. Good job. Let's double check in here and make sure this fuel tank is not draining. No. Alright, well. I guess we wait now. See what happens. Ship is still not pushing very hard, which means we don't have to turn off any engines down here yet. That key word, yet. But indeed, as this fuel tank runs out, as well as this one and this one, it'll begin to push harder and harder. Yep. As the wobbling begins, we will hit 9, allowing it to drop down quite a bit further. Check the map, see how high we are. 66 kilometers is our apoapsis. Considering I've removed the VTOL engines, I have mapped the solar panels to number 5, which used to be toggling the VTOLs. We'll see how well that goes. Whilst this launches, I'll tell you about some of the other iterations I tried of this craft. So, in the last video you realized that this isn't very stable on re-entry. The problem with that is it kept doing backflips. Not sure why. I'm not very good with space planes. Usually I just make really big rockets. Things that get something about this size into orbit, no problem. But now that they have Mark III parts, I may as well use them, because they're quite nice. Well, new Mark III parts. And so far, I've had minor success with them. Haven't done any proper launches with payloads yet. Oop. There's us reaching the point where we burn into a proper orbit. Excellent, excellent. But yes, with the previous iterations, what I did was I put some parachutes on the sides and tried to slow the back down while the front stayed pointing forward. That didn't work very well. I tried just putting parachutes on these and having it drift down using the VTOL engines to slow its descent. That didn't work very well. I tried landing it vertically, and that crashed and burnt terribly. I believe that's all I tried, if I recall. Yeah, that sounds about right. Let's hit number 8. Get it to stop doing that backflip. As you can see, we're getting into orbit with quite a bit of fuel. When I had the large fuel payload in the cargo bay, we got this down to literally drops. Sometimes with terrible takeoffs, we got these small tanks, which only run the small engines, down to about here. That was terrifying. But so far, without any payload, we're not having any problems. We're going to hit 7 now and cut off a couple more engines. Let this thing lean forward a bit more. Start work again. I have also mapped number 6 to turn off the large engine and activate all of the small ones. That was not bad. Not perfect, mind you, but not bad. They all seem to be loving it. 0.3, 0.2, 0.1. There we go. Roll grade, force roll 0. As you can see, we do still have plenty of fuel to do some orbital maneuvers if you'd like to, stuck to this thing. I'd rather not, but, you know, to each their own. Alright, let's test everything. 1 shuts down all engines on this part of the ship and opens the cargo bay. 5 deploys the solar panels. Just turn on the landing gear lights, just to light that up and make it look nice. So all of that works pretty well. Check our electricity. We've got no problems there. So we can close that. Close this. Turn on our maneuvering engines. And decouple from the main fuel tank. Much better. Alright. What do we have going here? Bill, Jeb, and Bob are over there in their space shuttle doing their own thing. As you can see, that's before I renamed it Shuttle Bacon. Alright, I guess we should probably test landing. I've got a terrible feeling about this. Let's do it. Wait. Action groups 3 work properly. 4 works properly. And then the rest are all engine toggles. Excellent. Okay, back to number 2. Map. And the Kerbal... oh no. The Kerbal Space Center is going into evening. Fantastic. So by the time we start landing there, it'll probably be getting dark. No, let's just use the basic landing guidance. Alright. So let's land at the vertically assembly building. Yes. Let this do its thing. But after it's done doing its general burn, or its burns, I'm going to burn quite a bit more, bringing our landing back bringing it back quite a bit more so we don't overshoot the KSC and have to double back like I did the first few times before I was recording. But hopefully not too much like last time in Run Into a Mountain, because nobody likes the taste of rock in the evening. As you can see, it's burning. Let's go into map view and see if the computers are working very hard. No, not at all. Looks like they are working slightly, so these might have to be moved up a tiny bit. Excellent, there it goes. Out of orbit. Bringing our predicted landing area closer and closer. But remember, that's not simply aerobraking. Landing here would require actual engines to land vertically, because this landing guidance is not a spaceplane landing guidance. It is a Moonlander style landing guidance. And quite frankly, I don't think it has a spaceplane landing guidance. Oh, you've got to be shitting me. You... what? Fucking Christ. Let's do that. Let's abort to this auto land. And start that one. I doubt this thing will be able to land, or MechJeb will be able to land this thing, but we'll see. We will indeed see. Map. Alright, now we wait. So we're an auto warp function? No? Auto land glide slope. Not sure what that is. Show it land. Yes. No? Yes? This isn't gonna end well. Let's warp until we are in the atmosphere. Yes, I know. It can physics itself to death occasionally. I'm not sure why it's facing down like that. It might be an aerobraking thing. Certainly hope so. Because if it's anything else, this is about to end very badly. Very, very badly. Oh no. Let's untime warp. Turn on, oh no, the jet engines. As you saw there, as I accidentally pressed 4 and turned on the mega engine, one of these side engines didn't properly turn off, so we'll mess with that later. 50 kilometers to the runway. We can see the Kerbal Space Center right there. The ship is righting itself. And we're gonna overshoot. Fantastic. This is a point where some parachutes would be great, but we don't have any. The ship has yet to throttle up. It's still trying to come down. Come on. We will open the air intakes now. Make sure they're open. Yes. This is a very, very awkward gliding pattern. I'd much rather be at a nice low altitude at this point, considering about 8 or 9 degrees here is our optimal flying angle. What is our surface speed is about 150. You need a minimal of 100 to fly this thing straight properly. Alright, let's hit the engines. Oh no, not this again. We need to tilt forward. 4, 3, 4, 3. Excellent. Not sure what's wrong. Let's just use all the fuel in this tank, because quite frankly, we don't need it. Alright. Let's just abort the auto land here. Hit 3, turn these engines on. The computer, much better. Considering we go about 100 kilometers an hour. Oh, come on. 4, 3. Gear. Even if we won't land on the runway, we may land. There we go. We might actually land this. Let's do a fly around of the Kerbal Space Center actually and come in from the other side. Considering we have plenty of fuel, we are still using fuel in this tank here. As you can see, the nose really wants to pull up. So, let's pull back on the throttle a bit. We do indeed want to slow down. This thing does not glide half bad. This is of course not gliding, considering we have active engines, but if I was to turn them off, it does indeed glide quite nicely. Even though it is very fidgety. Let's bring that down to about there. Pull up a bit. Gaining altitude. Pulling around. Lining up with the runway. Coming in for our landing. Yes. Ooh. Cut the engines. We don't need them anymore. We've made it. And touchdown! Yes! Yes! The first successful landing on video of this monstrosity! Yes. I'm quite proud of that. I'm not even going to apply the brakes. I'm going to let it nicely coast to a stop. Matter of fact, I may just pull in here to the Kerbal Space Center. Hit a little bit of brakes coming around this corner here. Dun da da dun da 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 dun da dun dun da da dun da 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 dun da dun 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 da dun dun. All of the happy victory music. Yes. Yes. Come come park here by the old Mark 1 cockpit statue. Let's actually pull up a little bit. There we are. And there you have it! A successful takeoff and landing of the so far nameless shuttle, the Bacon Shuttle. If anybody has a good name for this shuttle, leave it down in the comments below. Let's extend our ladders and get, let's go Merman Kerman. Have a nice ending to this amazing mission. Ooh, wait, I forgot. You do indeed need to lower this front landing gear. I mean, raise this front landing gear. Come on, come on. Damn it. There. You need to raise the front landing gear, allowing it to rest on these ones for the ladder to properly reach the ground. But that's not too bad. And on that, I will leave you guys to bask in the glory of my monstrosity. Until next time, don't forget to like, favorite, comment, subscribe, all of the annoying, pandery bullshit, and goodbye.